Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. The Serie A season is upon us. Only 2 days left. The excitement is building in the building, but also all around Serie A Twitter, and just I'm excited, man. Obviously, as an Inter fan, I'm also excited for Inter. But these videos I make, as a general Serie A video. I did a very similar video last year called "One Player to Watch from Each Team in Serie A," and this is what I'm doing again this season. Apologies, I've closed the chat to just channel members, just not because I don't want to speak to you guys, but I'm just trying to keep this video as succinct and to the point as possible, because last time my video when I made it last year went over to an hour. But I appreciate anyone that has popped through. I can see there's 10 people watching this live stream right now. Thank you, Tommy, my Nigerian Inter fan, coming through, and everyone else that's coming through. Thank you very much. But let's start off with the videos, and make sure, of course, guys, leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are interested in this type of content. I'm gonna go back to see what I did last year, what I did, the picks that I made last year. Eduardo also coming through as well. Thank you, my bro, and thank you for the shouts out on Twitter. So I made a tweet a few months ago just to go through my picks from last season. So I like to talk about my player picks as like stock picks, especially if you're into like the stock market, as companies that go, the stock market price goes up and down. And for Inter I had Di Marco, and I put that as a left wing back because I picked him out as a left wing back. It didn't really work out for Di Marco, and then he was okay as a left center back up to Bastoni, which was unexpected in my opinion, for that to become his full-time position. Tammy, obviously we know, I'm sure Tommy you're happy about your boy Tammy. Kulusevski, yes, but at Spurs, not at Juve. He thrived when he went to Conte at Spurs, which we always knew the boy had talent, and I wanted him at Inter when Conte was here, and clearly that's why Conte wanted him. Demiral, he was okay for Atalanta, not particularly great season, but nothing bad. I'm expecting better things from him this season. Sandro Tonali, or Toenails as I put him there, top season. A lot of Milan fans will say he was their player of the season, quite rightly so. Ricci was good for Empoli, not so good for Torino, but he was definitely a good stock pick. Zinho Van Huysden for Genoa, yeah, the guy is always injury prone, unfortunately for him. Lobotka, he was one of my little side picks, one of the unexpected picks, and he definitely came through for our stock picks, our portfolio. He came through. Lobotka was more of a meme player, but has become actually the starter for Napoli. Busio was good for Venezia, but he's back to Serie B now. But it would have been good to see him back in Serie A. Yeah, big up to your boy Tammy for sure. Sotil, this was one of my disappointing ones from Fiorentina. I was close to actually picking him again for this season, but yeah, he was disappointing last year. He's got a lot of talent. I like his profile. He's quite a pacey, direct dribbling winger. But he's still got time on his side. He's still young, and this may be his season, but he's not the player picked for Fiorentina this time around. Razvan Marin was okay for Cagliari in a very bad Cagliari team, and he's staying in Serie A. I think Empoli signed him. Arnautovic was good for Bologna. Of course, we know he's bloody linked with Man United. I couldn't believe that. Kovalenko was decent for Spezia. Bonazzoli, he was just kind of like, he was the only guy I really knew from the Salernitana team, so he was just kind of like de facto just the basic scoring some important goals for them. Nahuel Molina, the guy that maybe I would have wanted to replace Dumfries if we sold him, has ended up at Atletico. Quite rightly, had a great season for Udinese. Ilic had a great season for Hellas Verona. Hamed Traore, especially the second half of the season, absolutely exploded for Sassuolo, but he's injured at the beginning of this season, so I hope he recovers soon. Damsgaard was just injured once again for most of the season, but he's ended up in the Premier League. Singo, yeah, Wilfred Singo, he was been linked with Inter recently as potentially another Dumfries replacement. He had a good season under Juric. I was expected. He was, Juric is like Conte, just maximizes wing backs. And then Felipe Anderson was okay for Lazio. Had a strong start, but as usual, very inconsistent. But yeah, overall was a decent picks. Again, I'm not saying all of these picks are going to be like massive hits. It's just these guys I find like they're going to be the most interesting players to keep an eye out for and not all of them are necessarily young. Like you saw in this one, there was you know, Arnautovic is not young for sure. A lot of these guys were middle, not middle age, 25 is not middle age, but for a footballer, you know, 25, 26 is already kind of mid-career. So yeah, those were my picks last season. So let's go with my picks this season, and we're gonna go in the order of in alphabetical order. That's how I made the presentation. So if you're waiting for one of the big teams, you're gonna have to wait around for a bit. And we start off obviously with Atalanta. First one up on the screen, EDERSON from Atalanta. Now this guy I wanted at Inter, talented Brazilian center midfielder, attacking midfielder. As you see, I've put his FBref statistics up on the screen for the graphic. Like this guy, of course, you guys know this one caught my eye. The nutmegs per 90 is stat 0.390. But you know, apart from that, obviously he's got that Brazilian waviness and that, you know, flair, the samba. But he is a hard-working midfielder, up and down, great engine on him. But he is a ball-carrying midfielder. He's one of those guys that dribbles from the middle of the field, which is something that I felt Inter need we've needed that for a while. And this is what he's going to bring to this Atalanta team. They've paid over 20 million euros for him, which is, you know, that's a lot of money for Atalanta, which shows that they had a lot of faith in him. Ranked well in, you know, tackles in the attacking third, so it shows that he's a good presser. You know, Atalanta are a high pressing team. You know, as I said, the dribbling numbers are good, carries into the penalty area, shots on target, tackling numbers are good as well. Like, he just seems to me like a all-round midfielder, and I think he's going to be like the Pasalic for Atalanta. You know, like Pasalic kind of stood out last season for his numbers. Goals and assists. I think he's going to put up some very good goals and assists. I think he's going to be one of the more attacking midfielders in this Atalanta team. Only 23 years old still, so he's got time to develop under Gasperini. For Atalanta, we could have picked Scalvini, the centre-back, who's also played centre-mid for them in pre-season. He's one of the most exciting young defender coming through for Italy. So he definitely could have been one of the picks. Ademola Lookman, Tommy, I know there's another one for you. Ademola Lookman at Atalanta, he is also very interesting buy, an interesting pick for them. But I think EDERSON is the guy to watch for Atalanta. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me or do you pick someone else. Bologna, Moussa Barrow, man, it's time for Moussa Barrow to blow up. Like, this guy it's just time. He's 23 years old, so he's still young, but you know, he's been around the block for like this 3 or 4 years. Last year had an okay season, you know, 6 goals, 6 assists in the average Bologna team isn't too much to write home about, but this guy has the potential to hit double digits. He said, I watched an interview of his from preseason this summer, that he wants to hit double digits for goals this season. And, you know, he hasn't, his best season was actually 2 seasons ago when he kind of really blew up. And yeah, that's my question for him. Can he reach his potential? I'm not sure because, you know, but Bologna and the Mihajlovic seem to be like stagnating a little bit. Like, they've been just around that 12th, 13th or mid-table position for a while. They've always had a lot of talent on their team, but I don't know if Mihajlovic, aside from his health issues, which of course he's very, you know, shouts out to him, very inspirational, but I don't know if he's the right man to take them forward. But if Arnautovic leaves Bologna, a lot of the attacking, you know, he will have to take on a lot of attacking responsibility, Moussa. So yeah, he's definitely a guy that I want to see him take the next step in his career. Okereke, oh my days, yeah. Tommy, you're right. I don't know if I did it on purpose to like you know, do it to you, but there's a lot of strong Nigerian propaganda in my picks this year. But Okereke, he was one of the standout players from the relegated Venezia team last year. Cremonese, again, this is from the relegated team. It's usually very hard to pick a player because they never, unless you're, you know, we'll see Monza, but with these Cremonese and Lecce, they didn't really make too many moves in the market. But Okereke was one of these, again, on loan from Belgium. He scored 7 goals last season. He's a hard worker, but he's also a good dribbler, some good pace on him. He scores a couple of nice goals for Venezia as well. Was probably one of their shining lights So I think if Cremonese have any chance of staying up, I think they're going to rely very heavily on Okereke. So yeah, I think it's he's definitely the guy to watch out for. And wow, it's Tommy's birthday today, so yeah, that's maybe why, bro. I already knew. It wasn't a surprise to me. Nah, happy birthday to you, bro. More life to you. Let's move on to the next one. Inter fans, you knew this one was coming, right? Empoli, the boy, our star boy on loan, Martin Satriano, 21-year-old, was on loan at Stade Brest last season in Ligue 1 for the second half of the season. Had 5 goals, 1 assist in only 1,290 minutes, which is not too shabby at all. You know, he looks much older than his age in terms of physique. He's already like, you know, quite bulky, quite muscly. Like, you know, the size of his legs is very impressive already for his age. Can he take over from Pinamonti? That's the question. You know, Pinamonti last season, of course, stood out for carrying the Empoli attack with his 14 and 15 goals, whatever it was, with his penalties as well. Can Satriano do the same? You know, he's got that old school striker feel to him. Like he's very much a fox in the box. But I've seen clips from his time at Brest where it looked like he's trying to add more things to his game, you know, coming outside of the box as well. He does look a little bit clunky to me outside of the box, but, you know, as I said, he's only 21. He's probably going to improve on that. But I do think, yeah, potentially, as Eduardo says, potentially he looks like he's got more potential to me than Pinamonti in terms of just natural, you know, physical ability. I think Pinamonti has better finishing in terms of technique, but this guy stands out for his, you know, physical ability, which in modern football helps a lot. So I have some expectations from Satriano. I'm expecting him to hit, you know, at least like 10 goals. That would be good. Moving on to the next one. Luka Jovic. I mean, this one was only on the obvious one. This one I didn't go for like the, you know, the undercover, the more hipster pick. Like this one, I just went for the guy that made the waves, that's causing the hype for Fiorentina's transfer market, coming from Real Madrid on a mad deal that I still don't know how they managed to do. Free transfer, and then they will have to pay 50% of the future resale to Real Madrid, and they're still paying his wages. So that kind of deal also, I've said that it kind of makes a lower pressure on Jovic because, you know, they haven't paid any big money for him, and they're not even paying, you know, most of his salary. So to me, that gives it like a low pressure. Of course, he's got the pressure. You know, Fiorentina is a big club in Italy, and he is going to be the main striker for Fiorentina. So he's still got that pressure, but I think he's going to be allowed to develop or, you know, go back to playing football a bit more freely. You know, they still have, you know, he's not the only striker there. They also have Artur Cabral, who they signed for big money last season in his second season. But can he adapt to Italiano's 4-3-3? You know, when he thrived was more in the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3 that Eintracht Frankfurt were playing. You know, he was behind Sebastian Haller. He was playing off the big man, Sebastian Haller. So I don't know. And then, you know, at Real Madrid as well, they played 4-3-3 mainly. I think as a lone striker, probably he struggles. But surely the Jovic from Eintracht still exists somewhere deep inside. And I think, you know, we're going to see flashes of that. So definitely one to keep an eye out for. I think obviously for Fiorentina, Icone, second year from Ligue 1 in Serie A now. I think he should be doing a lot better this season. Nico Gonzalez, second season, definitely one to watch. Mandragora signed from Juventus, was on loan at Torino. Like, he's a good signing as well. Dodò, I think, was the obvious pick here, the right back coming from Shakhtar Donetsk, but I went for Luka Jovic. Hellas Verona, this was a difficult one because they haven't done much in the transfer market. They've only really got rid of players rather than bought players. They got rid of Tudor left. He's gone to Marseille, their coach. They got Cioffi from Udinese, which is an interesting pick. So I went for Coppola, which is 18-year-old centre-back. He's the captain of Italy's under-19 team. He's a giant. And he actually already debuted for Hellas Verona last season. And yeah, he's 1.92 meters tall, already quite imposing. Like, he's not just tall, he's actually quite muscular as well. As I said, he's already debuted, and Hellas Verona at the back in terms of defenders choices. They're not particularly blessed, so I think he is going to get some playing time. And Cioffi looks like the type of coach that gives the youth a chance as well. And I think they're going to stick with the 3-5-2 formation. So I think that would probably benefit him as well. So yeah, that's a name that I think, especially with Italy, we don't really have too many defensive talents at the moment. I think just for that reason, we are going to hear about him if he starts to get regular minutes. Inter, yeah, of course, you guys knew it. Last year I picked Di Marco. This year, you know, we could say the options. Who were the options for Inter? Probably, you know, Gosens coming in obviously after his injury. I think all eyes are definitely pointed on Gosens. I think you could say Di Marco once again. You could say Lukaku coming back after his horrible time at Chelsea. You could also say Bellanova coming in. But I went for the guy that, you know, I really wanted at Inter. Like, as soon as after tuning into a few matches for Empoli, I already felt like I want this guy. I want Inter to take a gamble on a player like this, and I'm so happy that they actually did. 20 years old. I think he's the winner of our preseason as well. Like, we've had a pretty stinky preseason Inter, but I think he's the one that's actually ended up standing out. Can play in all the midfield positions, but it looks like he has been brought in to be the vice Brozovic. And you might see him against Lecce already on Saturday, because Brozovic at the moment apparently has a calf issue. Like, he has got some muscular fatigue in his calf, so he might, ASLLANI, we might see him starting already in the first game in the Brozovic position. We knew we were suffering in the vice Brozovic position last year, and this has addressed that issue. Can he step up? Let's see. But let's not also discount him from playing as a vice Barella or as a vice Hakan, because he has shown that he has an eye for goal in the youth teams for Empoli to score a lot of goals. He scored against Inter last year with a great, you know, run from midfield. In preseason, he's shown an eye for a goal as well. So yeah, definitely, I'm just excited to see ASLLANI, man, 100%. Sharma wearing the thinking cap. So exactly. You know, you have to. This episode deserved the thinking cap, and also because I don't have a trim. Eduardo says ASLLANI or Bellanova, yeah, 100%. Tommy says Lukaku would be a boring pick. I'd say, Onana, 100%. Again, that would be a really good pick. But yeah, you know, I've been crying for Bryce Brozovic, but Onana, yeah, definitely. But this all depends on Inzaghi. He needs to give ASLLANI the playing time and Onana the playing time, because they both do deserve it. Juventus, boo! Of course, I can't leave Juventus out just because I dislike Juventus. Few choices there. Obviously, the obvious one would have been, you know, Pogba or Chiesa coming back from his injury, Di Maria. But I went for the guy that actually is probably not going to be the starter centre back. But I liked what I saw when he played for Italy in the summer, when Italy had a few friendlies or the Nations League games. 24-year-old Federico Gatti signed from Serie B, from Frosinone, so he's stepping up from Serie B. Quite there's not a very Juve move signing a player from Serie B, and he's literally one injury away as things stand from starting. Because if Bremer or Bonucci get injured, I think he's probably going to be more likely to start than Rugani, because Rugani has just not been at a level for a few years now. So yeah, I'm actually interested to see, because again, as I said, it's just a lack of Italian talent in defense that is my focus. I've picked more players just because there's such lack of talent in defending. So Gatti, Coppola, who I picked for Hellas Verona, I'm really interested to see. You know, he looks like he's quite athletic. He's got good, you know, size, strength, heading ability. So yeah, interested to see how Gatti works out. If he is just a flash in the pan, or he's actually going to become a full-time Serie A player. Lazio, this one had a few, because they've had probably the most busy transfer window, I would say, because they had lots of outgoing players that they needed to replace. My original pick was actually Marcos Alberto, the center midfielder that they signed from Shakhtar Donetsk. But I went for another young Italian talent, Cancellieri, signed from Hellas Verona. A rare profile for Italy, like, you know, similar to how I picked Sottil for Fiorentina last year. He is a pacey, direct, dribbling winger. athletic. You know, he's got a really good pace on him, which is a rare profile for Italian players. Great left foot. He's left-footed, which makes him even more rare. Scored some nice goals for Hellas Verona in the youth team, but even when he debuted in the main team. But Sarri is not really a guy that's known to give youth too much of a chance. So is Sarri even really going to give him much of a chance? But I think in the Sarri's 4-3-3, I think he needs to, especially with how inconsistent Felipe Anderson can be. I think, you know, on that right-hand side, he should be given a chance. There's always even rumor of him being potentially a false nine for Immobile, which I don't really see it. But, you know, Sarri, we've seen he's made it work with someone like Mertens in the past. So if they are missing a vice Ciro Immobile, he could be that guy as well. So that's why I picked Cancellieri. Another notable mention could have been obviously Romagnoli, because they signed I'm having a blank. The goalkeeper Maximiano they signed from Spain, and Casale, that's the name I was looking for. Casale, another signing from Hellas Verona, the centre back. He is another interesting one to pick. Definitely, guys, invest in Cancellieri stocks for the long term. Lecce, this guy Schulman, I think that is how you spell his name. 23-year-old. We Inter were linked with this guy last season as a Vice Brozovic. So I remembered his name from that time, and he does look like he's going to be one of those guys that even if Lecce get relegated, which I am predicting them to get relegated, I think he's one of those guys that will end up staying, like Razvan Marin for Cagliari stayed this year. I think he's got good technique, good physical qualities. Can he cope with the step up to Serie A, which is obviously the question always with the player stepping up from Serie B. But I do like what I've seen of him, because I did watch a little bit of him after Inter were linked with him. Milan, now, this one I think would have been De Ketelaere. I think is the obvious choice, 35 million signing, because, you know, if Maldini is spending that much for a player, you know, there must be something about him, and obviously he's going to be a special. We're going to watch him closely. But I went for Yacine Adli on this one because he really interested in me in terms of how versatile he is. Like, I thought they signed this guy as the, you know, Brahim Diaz replacement or alternative. But it looks like this guy can play all the midfield positions, even out wide if they wanted to. And he stands out in terms of his FVF runs for pretty much everything. Like, look at that. Key passes, he stands out. Also shot creating actions, also dribbling, goal creating actions, carries, assists, dribbles completed. Like, it looks like, you know, a total profile. Like, he can get stuck in, but he can also create. So I think this guy is going to get a lot of minutes, even as, you know, next to Tonali or Benacer, and also behind the strikers or even out wide. So I think he's going to be a really interesting player to keep a lookout for. Only 22 years old, and I think he opted to play for Algeria rather than France. So he's going to be playing at AFCON as well at some point. Monza, yeah. So this is the promoted team that most people are predicting to stay up, and I think they probably will, because they're just investing, you know, so much. Surely they will stay up comfortably. But there we had, you know, for Monza we had Stefano Sensi. You know, you guys know me on this channel. I love Stefano Sensi. But he looks like he's already injured in preseason. I saw that he's missed already a few games in preseason. So I think I'm permanently giving up on Sensi unless he revives himself. Caprari, great buy from Monza. Pessina, I think, was probably the most obvious option. Great buy from Atalanta. But I went from this guy, Warren Bondo, only 18 years old, all-round midfield talent. He was linked with a few clubs last season already for Monza bought him. Has already solid minutes for 2 seasons in League 2, so not in the Ligue 1 in France, but in the second division. But still getting regular minutes at that age is very impressive. 1 goal, 1 assist last season. But, you know, Serie A is not known to be giving much of a chance to youth players or young players. So I hope they give this guy enough playing time. But the fact that Monza went out and got this guy surely means that they're putting some trust into this guy. Yeah, if Icardi goes there, I might have to change the graphic for sure, bro. Eduardo says Icardi at Monza. Wow, if these guys actually get Icardi, that would be well, more one to watch off the pitch if Wandanara is still there. Napoli, yeah, I think this is one of the most popular picks. A lot of people are saying this is like kind of their wild card pick of the season, but I think so many people are picking this guy that doesn't really make it a wild card pick, because everyone has got quite big expectations of Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. I think I said it right. 21-year-old Georgian. Rare we get Georgian players in Serie A. Supreme techie talent. Like, technically, as I said already in my previous videos, this guy is already an upgrade on Insigne, because Insigne from last season was already looking dusted. Barely contributed from open play in terms of goals and assists. I think he's going to outdo Insigne's numbers from open play this season. The main concern with this guy is, of course, his personality. Like, you know, being talented is, you know, we know football isn't just about talent, it's about everything else. You know, how hard do you work outside of the match days, and, you know, your personality. And Napoli is a hard place, guys. It's a very high pressure team to play for. Yeah, so I'm not 100% whether he fits Napoli. Even Spalletti as well. You know, Spalletti can be a difficult coach to work with, but I think we're going to have some fun with this guy in terms of, we're definitely going to get some nice clips and some nice skill videos from this guy whilst he plays in Serie A. Whether he's going to be a hit, let's see. Oh yeah, going back to Napoli, by the way, before, if they sign Raspadori, that is definitely one to watch. The Korean defender they bought, Kim Min-jae, definitely one to watch as well. Oliveira at left back. So yeah, I think Napoli actually are probably the most interesting team to watch next season, just because of the amount of change they're having in their team. Roma. Now, this is my most boring pick. This is like, you know, I deserve being booed for this pick if you want to boo me, but it's DYBALA, man. Like, this guy is one of my favorite players in the league. I could have gone for Gini Wijnaldum. I could have gone, last season it was Tammy. I could have gone for Zalewski. Actually, originally I had Zalewski picked, because Spinazzola is coming back this season. I don't know how much playing time Zalewski will actually get. Yeah, I could have gone for maybe Belotti, but to me, it has to be DYBALA. Like, can he stay injury-free? Can he adapt to Mourinho's tactics? Is the hunger still there? But this guy, to me, as I said, on his day, still a top 5 player in the Serie A. Still only 28 years old, so he should be in his peak. That presentation, the team looks like it's being built around him. He looks like he's getting already a great connection with Pellegrini, with Zaniolo, if he stays with Tammy. Yeah, if he stays injury-free, I think this guy's going to cook, and I think he is going to go back to his old heights. And, of course, his Burns as an Inter fan, because we were linked with him so strongly throughout the summer. Salernitana picked Erling Haaland's boy. This guy grew up with Erling Haaland. Apparently, they're best friends. He was a free transfer from Krasnodar in Russia. BOTHEIM was playing for what was that team? I'm blanking right now. The team that smashed Roma in the Conference League. Bodo Glimt. Yeah, he used to play for them. Was a goal machine for them in Norway. Yeah, they haven't really signed anyone. Salernitana. Last year they were like, you know, when Sabatini was there, or in January anyway, they bought so many players. So I thought they were gonna, you know, with the new owners, they were gonna spend a lot of money this summer, but they haven't. They've got this guy, free transfer, different profile from Simi and the other strikers that they have, Ribery. They didn't keep Verdi, so yeah, again, it's more out of like just lack of choices really. In Salernitana, I've gone for this guy, still quite young. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to see what this guy could do in Serie A. Sampdoria, I've gone for Abdelhamed Sabiri. He scored an amazing goal the other week in preseason from the halfway line. His name rings a bell because a few years ago he was touted to be one of the best German talents around. Didn't quite work out for him. He came back to Sampdoria after being loaned to Serie B towards the end of last season, had a strong end. And yeah, again, Sampdoria, not really seeing too many names that stand out to me to pick. Juricic coming from Sassuolo on a free transfer is probably a name. But yeah, I've gone for Sabiri, and I think a few people might pick him for their fantasy Serie A teams because he's quite cheap. Sassuolo, I think this one was a quite an easy pick because after Scamacca left and it looks like Raspadori is leaving, I think, you know, there's a big gap up front that someone needs to fill. That obviously now Pinamonti's coming in, so obviously he might not get as much time, but Agustin Alvarez, 21-year-old Uruguayan striker they've signed from Peñarol, 11 million pounds, you know, big signing for Sassuolo. Inter will link with him, other big clubs will link with him, but in the end, Sassuolo went for him. You know, I think it's the perfect team for a player like him to develop. Modern, all-round striker from the clips I've seen of him. Technical. He's not massive, but he makes up for it with, you know, his all-round ability. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't think he'll actually blow up this season. I think this one maybe have called it one season too early. I think we have to give him this 1 year to get used to Serie A in Italy, and then next season maybe he blows up. But yeah, the other guys to look out for at Sassuolo, apart from, you know, Junior Traore, I guess he's injured, but they've signed a Norwegian midfielder called Thorsved from Genk. He's a tall attacking midfielder, so it's quite a different profile from the usual guys. So yeah, that's definitely one to look out for, I think, for Sassuolo as well. Spezia, I've gone for Mbala and NZOLA. Still only 25, even though he looks a lot older. He had an awful last season. He had a stinker. But the season before, he was one of the surprise packages of the league. He had 11 goals in 25 appearances. I think maybe he just wasn't fit last season, or Thiago Motta just didn't fancy him. But now they've got Gotti at the helm. I've seen that in preseason he's already bagged a few goals in the Coppa Italia match. Ray Manai, the guy who was starting mostly last season, is gone. He's not there anymore, so he should be by default getting a lot more minutes. So yeah, he is my pick for Spezia, and I think again it would be a smart pick if you're playing fantasy Serie A for sure this year. What's up, Ben? Thank you for coming through. You just missed my stream getting stuck. Oh, that's going backwards. Let's move on to the next one. This was actually a tricky one. Torino, because obviously last season it was Singo. We can't pick Singo again because he's not. I'm trying to not pick the same person. Torino, they've had a lot of players going out. They had a guy called Radonjic coming in on loan from Marseille, and I was stuck in between DEMBA SECK, which is the guy I've gone for here, and Radonjic, the Serbian winger. So I've gone for DEMBA SECK, but let me quickly talk about Radonjic. He's 26 years old, so he's not that young anymore, but he is always touted as to be one of the best talents coming out of Serbia. It never worked out for him at Marseille. He had loads of loan stints, and he's looking good in preseason already. He's a dribbler, got an eye for a goal, but he needs to add end product. Similarly, DEMBA SECK, he got some minutes last season, and he caught my eye. He's quite tall. He's 1.9 meters, but he's a great dribbler. He's a winger, plays behind the striker in the 3-4-2-1 of Juric. Had 200 plus minutes already last season. He has a start last season as well. You know, they had guys leaving in the attack like Belotti and a few other guys that have left. So he's in theory going to get a lot more minutes this season. Same thing I talked about with Radonjic. Can this guy add final product to his game? A bit more, you know, as Juric would say, you know, more grinta to his game. But he's definitely one to look out for, guys. I think he's one of my more hipster picks for this list. But maybe in the second half of the season he may end up getting more minutes. But I think he might be a surprise package. Ola Aina, yeah. How old is that guy? I swear he's not even that young anymore. I mean, I said I'm not picking young guys, but Ola Aina is, yeah, he could be one to look out for. I know you wanted him at Inter, Tommy, but yeah, he can't even get into the Torino team. So if I speak, I'm in big trouble. I think this is the last pick. Nehuen Perez signed on permanently. He was already there last season at Udinese, signed permanently from Atletico Madrid. I think he was kind of part of the Nahuel Molina deal because they got him on a free from Atletico. It's his second year in Serie A. He had 22 appearances last season. He's already received call-ups from the Argentina national team. He looked decent last year. But of course, you know, as a centre back, he's one of those positions where it takes a little bit longer to kind of peak or get better. And yeah, Udinese over the last few years have always had some interesting talents coming through. They have, you know, a new coach this season, so yeah, I would go for Nahuel Perez, because there's not, obviously, you know, the other obvious picks. Beto last season blew up. Udoji obviously is getting signed by Spurs and he's going to stay the year. Actually, I don't know who's actually they're replacing Molina with. I didn't check that. But Nahuel Perez is either going to play right centre back or in the middle of the three. So yeah, definitely one to watch out for. And yeah, that was my one player to watch from each team in the Serie A this season. Yeah, sorry, Tommy. No, don't worry. No super ego slander. It was more, you know, all line and just not living up to the reputation that you're trying to give him. But yeah, I think some of them were some of the, as I said, some were obvious. Some were a bit more hipster picks. Mostly, it looks like clearly I've gone for more young picks this time around. So yeah, these are the stocks. These are the stocks I'm holding for this season, guys. Let me know in the comments down below which stocks you will be holding this season. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. As I said, I apologize for not opening up the live chat on this one, just because I was trying to keep this video very streamlined. And Skriniar is staying as things stand right now. Skriniar is staying, don't worry, for now. Anyway, I'm not going to put my face on that one if he ends up leaving. But yeah, thank you everyone that tuned in, watching. 33 people. Thank you very much for staying while my stream did freeze. Always Forza Inter, but Forza Serie A, and I can't wait for the seasons to start back again. Keep a lookout. We'll do a proper long live stream previewing Serie A and Inter Lecce in the coming days. I'm doing a live stream with Inter Worldwide later tonight to talk about season predictions. Yeah, don't worry, season prediction video coming out soon as well. Keep a lookout on the channel. Ciao ragazzi, Forza Inter.